Stronger together. Stronger, stronger together.
Okay, we've made a quick pit stop, and you know, in our country, it's really cool to bash our president, right? Everyone goes, oh, bash Obama. In Ireland, they hold in reverence people who come over here. For instance, when you go to Galway, they will tell you all about JFK. He was there for 20 minutes, but they will tell you all about JFK. Martin Sheen went to university here. Ask anybody, they will tell you, Martin Sheen. Well, behind us, I don't want to say in the middle of nowhere, but we're sort of out in the middle of Ireland at a gas station, which has been named Barack Obama Plaza. And it's been named that because Barack Obama has some Irish roots in him, and he did come to Ireland. And they were so grateful and so happy, they've named a plaza after him. Now, what can you get at the Barack Obama Plaza? You can get Supermax, you can get gas, and you can get all kinds of goodies. But the Irish, in the middle of their countryside to stop for gas, are at the Barack Obama Plaza. Lesson, America, you don't always have to knock people down. He's our president, he was a good guy, they like him, why don't we? Okay, so if you're driving across Ireland, you get to Moneygall, and there's the Barack Obama Plaza. I'm not making this up. And you go inside, and it's just like, because his great-great-grandfather was from here. And you go inside, and there's this fabulous homage to Obama. And there's a museum and everything there. And it was so cool to see. I loved it. And you know that he has relatives that came from here.
Many generations before.
Great-great-great-grandfather, I think. When you think of Barack Obama, what do you think of?
I wish he was our leader.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
And especially over the recent shootings.
Yeah.
His statement that he came out, I was just...
Do y'all laugh at us every time that we've had one a week since Sandy Hook? Do y'all just look at us and go, what the hell are you guys thinking?
Yes.
And how do you feel about Barack Obama?
Oh, I think it's a big positive.
A big positive. And as a president, you think he's been a good guy?
Absolutely, yeah.
And
I admire the Democrats. I think they're the best people for the job.
We're trying.
Oh, well.
It's hard with Donald
It's
Trump
not
and all
easy.
this
Well,
noise.
He's not going to get in.
Well, let's hope.
He did put in.
I didn't think Bush would be reelected, but there he was. So the simple question is, if I said to you Barack Obama, what would pop into your mind?
I would say that if Barack Obama ran again, he would cream any other candidate.
Well, given what we've got running.
That's kind of what I'm getting at here.
Yeah, I'm not optimistic. Well, Hillary, but I mean.
Similar to when people kind of give out about how the Pope has behaved
Yes,
in going to see your one.
Kim Davis.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, but still, in the spectrum of Pope, like in a room full of very ugly, annoying people who've made big mistakes and really besmirched people, he looks great.
Yeah.
Obama, similarly, occasionally doesn't strike you as a politician.
Right.
Which I appreciate.
So what do you think of him now that he's winding down?
I think he has had a very tough job.
See the gray hair?
Yes, and that's really all I can say because I'm just kind of not that political.
But you know, it's when you think about it, you know, he went in with such high expectations, and then they just fought him on everything. You know,
everything. He had no way to do anything.
What about our level of respect for him? Do you think we respect him as much as the rest of the world?
I do not think so.
Me neither.
I do not think he's respected.
Me neither.
I just like that he is more about the people and peace and everyone getting along.
Yeah. Yeah, he even tried to reach across the aisle to John Boehner, who bit off both his hands. You know, who is now retiring because someone dug up some dirt on him somewhere.
And I'll tell you, when Obama came here, I went to see him do a speech.
Did you really?
And I was like 17.
Yeah,
I was still in school, skipped school to go.
Wow.
Queued for
we'll
hours.
edit that out.
They know. Queued for hours, went to see him, and our Taoiseach, our head of state, still our head of state
Yes,
now,
I've interviewed him.
he gave a speech that Obama had given before.
Wow.
And didn't mention it before he started, and then tried to play it off in his homage.
Oh, how funny is
and
that?
Obama's like looking at it like, and
I've heard this before.
Yeah, and is like changing the occasional word, and everyone's looking at each other like, is this familiar? Have we heard this before? And it's like, no, he's just made Obama's speech to Obama.
Now, why, as a young Irish lad, why would you go queue for our president?
Well, I'll tell you, the Queen, because all the security drills...
Which one? I mean, I'm here.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Because all of the security measures had already been taken for Obama, Queen Elizabeth came the same week, and it was the first time, I think, one of the British monarchy had come to see us since 1921, which was kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
She got, I would say, under 50,000 people. Obama shut down the city.
Well, I love that you love our president because so many in my country disparage him every day. And
well, it's not right. I mean, look what he did for healthcare, etc. He just barely got in, and those horrible Republicans, you know, they just want to like get rid of
everything, except corporate America,
and social welfare, etc. But I think I'm a tiny bit biased because my last name's Kennedy, so...
Any relation I have to ask?
Distantly, but, you know, no...
Hey, distant is better than none at all. Well, thank you so much for your comments today. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Wish you well as well. Entire weekend is part of the mad idea of this wonderful person sitting next to me, who we are both understated, and who today was on the Cliffs of Moher with a 12-foot gay pride flag. Eddie, what a time for Ireland and gay rights and just all of it. It's all just something, isn't it?
It has been an absolute amazing journey on so many different levels. I don't even know where to start. Oh, I'll start with today. I was waving that 10-foot by 10-foot flag, 20-foot pole to tell all you Americans to come over across the Atlantic to what I would call the Atlantic Way here in the west of Ireland. So why not bring that rainbow to us?
Well, first of all, I don't want to say what courage, but just so proud and unashamed. Right there, we're the busiest tourist attraction in Ireland.
Oh, it's amazing. You have to realize is the Cliffs of Moher, and it's pronouncing Moher, yes, is what we would call over 1 million visitors every year just to view those cliffs, and it is amazing. And the sun came out.
Yes, it did.
The clouds departed.
You arrived, the clouds parted.
At least something parted.
Yes, exactly.
I am married now.
Oh,
so
well, hey! And now, why was this important for you to do? You started it 3 years ago, and that was before the referendum. And so why was that important for you to do?
I've been on this journey. I like yourself. I've been a publisher. I've been a presenter of a gay TV program. I've been known at one point as a gay dancer. I'm not a gay dancer, I'm a dancer. But with that is, I'm no longer gay. I am Irish, I'm equal.
She is everything RuPaul should be. And I mean that. She is a drag performer par excellence, where you just slayed a full room of people. There is a movie coming out about her life, and the marriage referendum may not have happened the way that it did if it weren't for this person next to me. She's also the co-sponsor of this event. She is fabulous. Her name is Panti, and she is here with me now. Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, listen.
That's quite the build-up you just gave me there.
You know what? I have heard so much about you. I heard about your speech at the theater and Panti Gate. You got a gate.
I did.
You got your own gate. I have wanted a gate forever and ever and ever, and just
they're not all they're cracked up to be.
Gates aren't good.
Well, it was fine in the end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now let's talk first about the referendum.
Yeah.
You were really involved in that, and then it happened.
Yeah.
And there you were, center stage for the world.
Well, we were really thrilled because we were the first country in the world to do it through popular vote, which is a risky way to try and do it, because if we'd had lost...
And kind of insulting, but...
Yeah, we would have had to sort of wait maybe 2 generations to have a go again. And you're right, it's kind of humiliating in a way to be doing it that way. But that's just the vagaries of our constitution. It had to be done that way. So, but then when we got the result we wanted, it was much more powerful than if it had just been done legislatively, because the whole country got together, we all talked about it, we discussed it for months on end. It was sometimes a very difficult discussion, but then we all voted on it, and it's been decided, and nobody can carp about it afterwards now, because it's a done deal. The journey that Ireland has made regards, LGBT people in the last 35 years has been incredible. From criminalizing
showing us up.
From criminalizing sex between men to having full marriage equality and full legal equality under the law in every respect. That's an incredible journey to make, and especially for a small country like ours, which is seen often from the outside, especially, has been very sort of conservative and Catholic and all that. It's an incredible journey that this country has made, and in some ways, I think that this little event encapsulates that journey. There's no other event like this in the world.
No.
We're in a tiny village
800
in the
people.
west of Ireland, like minuscule village, steeped in the traditions of Ireland and everything that represents. And for one weekend, all of these gays and lesbians and bisexuals and transgenders, you sort of pile into the village. And I think the first year the villagers are a bit like, what is going on? But they really sort of embraced it, and it's really fun. And it's, in some ways, I think it's the antithesis of a circuit party.
Right, it is.
Opposite of that.
It is.
And it's just charming and lovely and
let me ask you before you go, because everybody wants you. Under it all, I did drag for years too, and under
Go
it all,
away.
I did. I was the Divine Miss. I did Bette Midler.
And yet you seem so demure.
Yes, I do. Yes, of course. When Pantygate happened and all these things, there's personal attacks going on, and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What keeps you? Like, I don't say what keeps you going. It's so Oprah, but but really. You could have just either given up or gone someplace else, or just say, I'm just going to be an entertainer and go be an entertainer. You didn't have to fight. You didn't.
Well, in a way, I did have to, because in some ways, people are always trying to sort of say, "Oh, Panti, you've done so much for them," and I always feel a bit guilty about that, because in many ways, my motivations have always been entirely selfish.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be who I am.
Right.
And I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I wanted to be, a comfortable gay person myself. And in order to achieve that for myself, I felt like I had to be involved in the fight for rights for the wider community, but I was fighting for myself as much as for anybody else. And when I don't know how much you know about that, but when the whole sort of Pantygate scandal happened, I had my back to the wall, and it was either stand up for myself or be walked over.
Or be kicked.
And I'm not the kind of person to be walked over. So.
No, it doesn't seem so. You are a delight. Thank you for this festival. I'll be coming back. Maybe I'll find a husband who can say.
Yeah, who can say?
All right, we are here in Lisdoonvarna for the Outing. It's a matchmaking festival. And I have run into someone absolutely extraordinary who I know we're going to be immediate friends. Her book is just taking the bookstores by storm. It is called Frankly Kellie, Becoming a Woman in a Man's World. Her name is Kellie Maloney, and she is here with us now. And by the way, formerly Frank Maloney, a boxing promoter, okay? And now here she sits in all of her glory in the west of Ireland. Welcome, Kellie. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Girl, I have to tell you, transgendered rights and issues have been moved into the foreground recently. And in our country, unfortunately, through Caitlyn Jenner. And I always say that she's the exception, not the norm. Let me ask you, you are probably in the most testosterone-filled industry that there was, which is boxing. When did you realize, as Frank in the boxing community, that this wasn't working for you, that you were somebody else?
I knew all my life I was different, but I didn't know why I was different. And when you're young, you just want to be the same as your brothers. You want to be accepted in society. And it was only in the 60s, I read an article on April Ashley, I think I was about 14, and I read this article and I just went, no, this is me. How do I deal with this?
Right.
She had just been destroyed by the British press, which they make a great habit of doing to people. and she lost everything, and I went, and the fear grew inside me.
Right.
I could never. How do I tell my parents that I'm in the wrong body? I really should have been born a female.
Right.
So I fought it all my life. I battled it.
I always knew I was gay. I never not knew, and I was always out, and I can't imagine having hidden it. That must have been complex.
It was, because I was trying to be the perfect son to my parents, because my father idolised me because of what I achieved. I was trying to be the perfect husband and the perfect father.
So you were married?
I was married, been married twice, yes, to two very nice women. And thankfully we're friends now, and they've accepted it, and they've helped me. They've helped me cross over the bridges. And, you know, it's
now,
just been...
when did you transition?
I had my final operation 16 weeks ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I lost the part of my body I wanted to lose.
You know, our friend Lee made a great film, What Not to Ask a Transgendered Person. And I don't want to ask any questions that you don't want to be asked.
I'm quite happy to ask any questions.
But I have to ask you, you've been doing a whole lot of interviews recently. Have you made any, how do I say this? Does the press know how to deal with you?
I don't know, but I'm one of these people, because of where I come from. I mean, I've dealt with the likes of Don King and been insulted by Mr. King, so...
When Bush was elected, you were in Don King's house.
Yes, I was.
Who can say that?
I was. So looking at a picture, and he had a picture of him and Bill Clinton, and I said to him, Don, you must be upset. Your state have put a Republican in. He went, I am now a Republican. And then came the picture, and that came another picture.
We mentioned the other night, there's just not room for characters like him anymore.
No, he's a great character. And, you know, he... As I say, I've been insulted by Don, so I've learnt to deal with the press. I've learnt to deal with everything else. So I never get upset. If they misgender me, if they ask me the wrong question, I'll answer it, because it's all about education.
Right.
I feel that I'm educating them to understand what being a trans person is.
Now, you wanted to sit down with Caitlin and have a chat, but I'm told she said no.
Yeah, my agents wanted me in an English TV station because, without sounding big-headed and arrogant, I'm probably the equivalent to Caitlin in this country.
Yes, you are.
Except for I haven't got a Kardashian family.
Right.
But I've got two lovely daughters who have actually given advice to the Kardashian girls in the magazine. And we just got a reply from Caitlin's agent saying Caitlin doesn't do interviews, so we've left it alone like that.
Tell that to Vanity Fair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like she does do interviews. Now, everyone's saying that gay rights, and here we are at the outing in Ireland right after the gay and lesbian referendum. It's a very big deal. A lot of gay people are telling me that trans rights are the next frontier. Do you think so too?
I think we're grown. We are probably where the gay community was 15 years ago. I mean, the thing is, I always preach that...
Can you still be fired? Like, where do you live? What country do you live in?
I live in England.
And in England,
no, we're quite protected.
Are there laws protecting you there?
We've got good laws, yeah. Unlike, we're not as shall we say, in the
barbaric?
world like Americans are.
Yeah, barbaric. Yeah,
yeah,
barbaric's a good word.
But I do feel that some trans people, we are our own worst enemy as well. You know, because we jump down people's throats if they misgender us. You know, it takes time. For 40, I'll lie about my age. For 40 years, a little bit longer, shall we say. Everyone's known me as the macho boxing promoter that's gone out there. So if people misgender me, I can understand that.
Right.
And then, as long as they don't do it deliberately and maliciously,
and even you
all
make
right.
a sort of double entendre joke about, frankly, Kelly. You know, you sort of combine your old name as an adjective with your new name.
Yes, I chose that book title myself, and they loved it. The publishers, they were throwing all these names in, and I said, it's very simple. Frankly, Kelly. And
so, what is it like being a woman in a man's world? Because you were a successful man, and men have privileges that women don't. Now you're a woman.
You do get treated differently.
You do get treated differently.
And you get looked down a little bit upon you.
Yes.
They patronise you a little bit. But, you know, I've gone back into the boxing world, but in a very small way. And I'm hoping to conquer all them fears, and I'm hoping to overcome all this prejudice in this old boys club, because boxing is an old boys club.
Absolutely.
And, you know, there's not many gay boxers even come out.
Right.
I think in all my time, I've only known 2.
Wow.
We are human beings the same as anyone else.
Of course.
It's only society that's given us this label. I don't want to be known as a trans woman. I want to be known as a human being.
I was about to ask you this question. You have transitioned.
Yes.
So you're not a trans woman.
No.
You're a woman.
I'm a woman.
Right.
I'm a human being.
Yes. whose gender is female. You're a woman.
Yes.
Why do you suppose we have to identify people as trans if they've completed the transition? Can't we just call them men or women?
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I do cause a lot of problems with the trans community because I say that, because they say you should be proud to be a trans woman. No, I'm proud to be a member of the human race.
You were a trans woman until 16 weeks ago. Now you're a woman.
Yeah.
It takes courage to say, I am walking away from the career that I scratched and clawed and built for. It's not easy to be a successful boxing promoter, and I'm walking away from that. That takes a lot of courage. And now that you've done it, when you look back, was it the absolute right decision?
It was at that time because I could never have transitioned. I actually wanted to transition very privately.
Right.
A lot of people don't know, but I'm quite a private person away from the...
Well, I mean, the media's all over you right now, but I can imagine that you still want to...
Well, I've got a family, I like to protect them, and I only came out very publicly because I had the English press sitting outside my front door ready to expose me, and I had to fight legal battles to keep them from exposing me.
Someone was threatening you?
They were threatening they were going to run the
story. To
expose
you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would do that?
So English papers do things like that still.
Still, this is recent that they threatened you. So you just said, screw it, I'll just come out.
Well, we went to war with them with a legal team, and obviously I was protected under privacy because we do have Privacy Act, so they couldn't run the story. And then eventually my lawyers and my team that I put together said, Kelly, you can't keep fighting this. It's going to cost you an absolute fortune.
Right.
You're going to have to come out. So we made contact with a couple of papers, and we found a paper that was friendly, and they would give us editorial rights, they would give us headline rights and picture rights, and they would let me employ someone that would read all the story to make sure that every adjective was right and they didn't use the wrong pronoun.
Right.
And I think that really helped the trans community in this country. And since then, the press have been a lot more positive.
What do you think about the trans community in Ireland? I think it's probably so new now. The gays are stepping forward, but are trans people still frightened here, do you think?
I think there is a movement here called TENI, and I've met a couple of them. They're really nice. And they've just passed a bill in Parliament, in the Irish Parliament, where they now can get gender recognition certificates and be recognised as female on their birth certificate. So they are moving in the same direction as well.
Caitlin was just recognised as a female, but she hasn't completed the surgery. Is that okay with you? It's not okay with me, by the way, and I'm just being frank about that.
Well,
it's not okay with me.
I mean, everyone differs. I mean, I've read articles where she's not going to have the surgery. I've read articles where she's going to have the surgery. I think Caitlin plays the press to suit herself in a little way.
What's your hope, both personally for yourself and for the trans community? As you look ahead, what is your hope?
My hope is that people will just see us in the street, recognise us and accept us, and let us live our lives the way we want to, and
What new mountains do you want to conquer? Because you don't seem like the type to just sit around doing nothing.
No, I just want to help others and get people to respect us and just see us as human beings, and let us get on with our lives. Because do you know what? We're not freaks, we're not perverts, we're not sexual deviants. We are human beings that were born with a condition, and we've used medical science to correct it. Now, if you were born with a heart murmur or one arm missing, or
no one would think anything about it.
And the doctors fixed that, or the doctors cured you of cancer, they would say, what a wonderful job them doctors have done. All them doctors have done has corrected something that was wrong at my birth. So we should say, what a wonderful job them doctors have done, and let me go out and enjoy my life, and let all trans people enjoy their life.
There's just not much I could add to that sentence. It is what I hope for Kelly and for Christine and for all trans people. I've grown up gay and know so many transsexuals, transgendered. There's a difference. So many transgendered people, and I've watched them face insurmountable odds. I've seen them be beaten. I've seen them just suffer indignations that even gay people haven't had to suffer. And even now, that there is so much, because there's a yin and a yang. Yes, there's a positive movement now about it, but then there's also the backlash. So there's always a yin and a yang. This is a wonderful human being sitting next to me. That's what's sitting next to me. A wonderful human being who has more fun shopping now, don't you?
I love shopping.
Oh my God! I mean, look, I love shopping. Oh, I know. What's your favorite thing to buy?
I don't know.
I like flowy things. Big, it's got to be.
I like heels because they make me taller. Because I've always been small.
Absolutely. And they make your butt look good.
Good, and I love.
I did drag for 8 years, so I
So I could learn.
Oh, honey, I know.
Get some lessons off of you.
I found the stores that sell for big girls. Yes, I have.
So no, I just love shopping. The colours, the selections are so much different,
and how I cannot imagine as we go how liberating it must be for Kelly to wake up in the morning, to put on her clothes and go to a female dress shop and buy some fabulous clothes and just be out and open. I mean, that just has to feel wonderful.
Do you know, that is the best thing about this, because before I used to wake up and I'd look out and I'd put a tracksuit on and I'd go out as Frank, hating it. And then at night I would wait till it was dark and my neighbours couldn't see me, and I'd dress and I'd go out to my support group or out social. Because I was quite small, I got away. As long as people didn't know who I got away with it, and I was very lucky.
Right. No, I wouldn't know you were trans. Yeah. Well, you're not a trans woman anymore. But I would not have known when I first met you that you were.
And and it was so funny because I used to go walking my dogs. I've got 2 Airedales, and I used to walk them a lot, and that was my sort of relief. And then when it came public, I sort of then got up, and it was great to be able to get up in the morning, just put on a onesie, just brush my hair, put a little bit of lippy on, and go out and walk my dogs. And I was out one day, and I saw this woman coming towards me, who I always met as Frank, and she stopped and she instantly recognises the dogs, and she went to me, "Oh, I'm so used to your husband walking your dogs." And I thought that was the greatest compliment ever, and I loved that compliment.
Well, I love you. You are marvelous. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
And I know you get thanked a lot for all that you're doing for the young people, but I'll never forget it when I was on KGO radio and a young person came up to me and said, "I came out to my parents and I did it because of you, and you're the only gay person I ever heard on the radio, and it's because of you that I'm honest with my family." And even if you only hear that once, it really does matter.
I know say hello to my friend Leslie from me.
I love it. Leslie Jordan, you got to come over next year because it's the bomb over here.
You've got to come to the outing because I'll be back here next year.
Absolutely. Me too.
I'm coming to see you in LA and see this man in LA.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kelly, for everything. Thank you. All right, I am Karel. We are going to find Willie Daly. He is the matchmaker. Has he matched you yet?
Yes.
I know you got some bloke calling you like 12 times a night.
I know, he's matched me a 6'2" farmer.
Well, why not? It is the Karelcast. I am Karel, so very glad you are joining me. So I'm here in Ireland, in the west of Ireland, thanks to Culture Ireland and Tourism Ireland, who brought us over for the outing. If you are gay or lesbian, I highly recommend next year that you come to the outing. It's great fun. Now, this morning I was watching their news in a blur, because I hadn't slept in forever, and there was a round table on the Middle East. And of course, they were talking about the refugees. Now, I've asked you if you know one of the things that everyone from other countries are talking about when it comes to the refugees. And it's surprising to me, the one thing. And that one thing is that we did it. We being the United States of America. Everybody seems to know that we caused the refugee crisis that is going on and that the rest of the world is dealing with. And we sit back and say, "Oh, that's terrible, that's horrible, those people should be helped, something needs to be done. Here, let us send $1 billion. Because we have checkbook diplomacy. We seem to think we can just pay our way out of the fact that we bombed the hell out of Afghanistan, making it unlivable. You know, who wants to live in Afghanistan? Not even the Afghanis, obviously, because they're leaving. And where are they going? You know, well, they're joining with friends from other countries that we've destroyed. Take Syria, for instance. You know, we have a part in the Syrian civil war. Remember when we parked warships right off of Syria? Remember? It was just like 6 months ago. They've got chemical weapons and we had warships there and they're either going to give them to us by 12:01 p.m. at this hour. We're going to stomp our little foot and be so mad. And what happened? Well, the normal war hawks, the GOP, since Obama was the one saying, let's bomb this place, we might bomb this, but they all said no more war in the Middle East, no more bombing, we all have Middle Eastern fatigue or the meth, and that's it, we're done with it. And now, what's happening? They're blaming President Obama for not bombing Syria, for not getting a hold of the civil war. The fact is, our involvement with Assad was discussed this morning on their news, and I saw 2 people wearing hijabs discussing it on their news. And I thought, how refreshing. There's going to be a Middle Eastern conversation with people that actually live there. Wow, isn't that refreshing? And what did this wonderful woman professor say about what's going on in Syria and the refugee crisis? And what did the 3 other commentators say on RTE this morning about the refugee crisis? That it's our crisis. And it's part of, and I quote, a continually failing policy of the United States in the Middle East. Now, if you were living in Pakistan somewhere and you knew that at any moment fire could rain down from the sky just because some guy driving by might be a Taliban leader, would you stay? Of course not. We have thrown that country into economic disarray by being there for 14 years. We have been at war in Afghanistan for 14 years. It is the longest sustained war. You don't think that breeds refugees? Karel Life in Segments, The Outing, has been partially sponsored by Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. Available through the Progressive Voices app or tune in. Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on.